order for baking to be fun, it has to be simple, but it has to taste good too, and leave people wanting more. I'm busy. I don't have time to trade a messy kitchen for tasty treats. But what I will make time for is simple, delectable, delicious, irresistibly tantalizing sweets. Welcome to Simplicity Sweets. Hey. Today on Simplicity Sweets, we're going to make a delicious chocolate chip cake with chocolate chip icing. It's going to be so good. And we're going to start off with a French vanilla cake mix, which is a white cake mix. We're going to use half of a package of vanilla pudding mix. So this is a large box. We're going to use half of it. You're going to need 4 regular size eggs to add to the mixture. We're going to add 2 sticks of melted butter. It's going to make it so good and rich. And then we're going to add vanilla flavor, but we're going to use a pinch of cinnamon. That's going to wake that teaspoon of vanilla up. And you're going to put a teaspoon of butter flavoring to make it more buttery and yummy. You're going to see that these flavorings together is going to make it really good. I want to show you something here. Sometimes you don't have everything that you need. Like you may not have milk, but maybe you have some dry milk. And so what we're going to do is just take 1/3 of a cup of dry milk and we're going to add water to it. And it's going to wake it up, and it's going to be just like using regular milk, because sometimes we don't have everything we need, do we? But we can improvise and it will taste just as good, you know? And then some people use almond milk. There's just all kinds of substitutes for it, but it's gonna be fine, you'll see. So you can do like me and use this powdered version, or you can use regular milk if you have it. But we're stirring it together. It looks just like regular milk. So sometimes you have to kind of use what you have, especially if you're in a bind or you're in a hurry. And so now let's put this cake together. So now we've got our box of cake mix. I like to use French vanilla white cake mix, but it's really up to you which one you use. But I highly suggest, if you can find the French vanilla version, use this one because it's so good and it'll make your cake taste so yummy. By the way, sometimes people try to make homemade vanilla cakes with flour. You really need to know what you're doing, because sometimes that version does not taste as good as the cake mix version. You might think it will, but you have to really know what you're doing. The cake mix batter tastes much better, and you can just play with it and kick it up like I am. So I've got my mixture in the bowl, and now we're gonna pour in our cup of milk. It's gonna make the batter a lot richer. We're gonna put in our 4 eggs, crack those little bad babies in the bowl. You see, we're just putting everything together and we're gonna stir it all at once. Isn't that awesome? Makes things really simple, doesn't it? Now the box recipe asked for 3 eggs, but I'm gonna add 1 more. It just makes the recipe a little richer. And then I'm actually gonna sprinkle in about a tablespoon of flour just to make it taste a little bit more homemade. Now we're gonna take about a cup of chocolate chips, and we're gonna mix it in flour to make the chocolate chips float. And now pour in your cup of melted butter. Take your box of vanilla pudding mix, and you're gonna only put in about half of it. That's what's gonna add moisture. Some people use sour cream. And now we're gonna use our little vanilla trick. And what you wanna do is just sprinkle in a little bit of cinnamon, and it's gonna wake up that vanilla flavoring. So it doesn't matter what vanilla flavoring you use, because that cinnamon is gonna kick it up to the next level. We're gonna take a teaspoon of butter flavoring, and it's gonna really make the cake taste nice and buttery. And I am gonna use a mixer for this. It's just gonna help to blend all those ingredients together, because we do have a lot of ingredients. But then in the end, I'm gonna mix the rest of it by hand because I don't wanna over mix it. And then I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of water to my mixture and stir it up really, really good. I love Baker's Joy because it's a mixture of oil and flour. And so you're gonna spray it in a 13 by 9 pan and spray it all nice, and it makes it really great so that it comes out easier. And now we're gonna take the batter and we're gonna pour it into the pan, and we're gonna spread it all out nice and evenly to make it nice and pretty. You see I'm getting it all in there first before I start to spread it. And now we've got everything in, and we're gonna just spread it all out. This is the fun part, getting it all even, making those little pretty designs. And I always give it a little tap. And now I'm gonna take my chocolate chips and I'm gonna sprinkle them all over the top. This is just me and how I like to do it, because I wanna make sure that they don't sink all the way to the bottom and that they're nice and, so that we can kind of see them at the top. When you cut that slice, you want to be able to see your chocolate chips. And so it's just kind of fun to spread it on the top and, mix a little batter over it so that it's nice and smooth and they are a little bit below the surface. And now we're ready to put it into a preheated 350-degree oven for about 35 to 40 minutes. And when we take it out, it looks like this. Nice and golden brown and moist and yummy. You'll see it pull away from the edges, and you'll also want to do the fork test or the toothpick test to make sure it's done. Now we're going to make our icing. So you're going to need 2 sticks of softened butter and 4 cups of powdered sugar. And then we're going to do our vanilla cinnamon mixture with 1 teaspoon of vanilla flavoring. And we got a secret ingredient. We are going to add a tablespoon of instant pudding mix. And I've got about 1/4 of a cup of milk, but you're probably not going to need all of that, maybe a couple of tablespoons. So first you're going to put your softened butter into the bowl. And then we are going to use a mixer for this, and we're not going to do it by hand. And we're going to blend it until it's nice and creamy and has these nice little soft peaks. As you can see, this you would not want to do by hand because it's not going to give you that nice whipped texture that you need. So now it's nice and whipped. So now we're gonna do our little cinnamon trick. I'm just sprinkling in a little bit of cinnamon here and putting my vanilla flavor over it. Just do a teaspoon of vanilla flavor over it, mix it all together. And then you're gonna start alternating between your powdered sugar, and you're gonna add your tablespoon of vanilla pudding mix. And I did a tablespoon of that. It's 2 half tablespoons. And then you're going to add in your little bit of the milk, and you're gonna start alternating between the powdered sugar and the milk and mix it all together really, really good. Then you're gonna add in some more yummy chocolate chips. About 2/3 of a cup of chocolate chips will do. And we're gonna actually stir this part in. It'll be easier and make it not such a bumpy road where if we use a mixer, we just stir it in gently by hand. Just fold it in, put love into your bowl of icing. This icing is going to be so delicious, and it's gonna have that little secret pop of vanilla pudding in it. And now for the fun part, we get to spread it all over our cake. And as you see, I like to put dollops all over my cake first and spread it out because I want to make sure that my icing is nice and even. And so you're just gonna use a knife. I'm using a butter knife here, and I'm just gently putting it all over the cake. And you're gonna spread it all out until it's done, and it looks all nice and pretty like this. Isn't this so lovely? It's going to be so moist, so rich, so delectable, so buttery. And those chocolate chips are going to come through and just have the best little nice crunch. And you're going to make a nice little slice. And there you go. You've got yourself a chocolate chip cake, something different that you can share with your family and friends. Take to a get together, and they're going to feel like, oh, it tastes like it's homemade. It's so good. I can't wait for you to try it. And by the way, I put love into this book that I wrote to help people who want to have a better relationship, or if you're struggling with love, or you just want better love. Check out my book by Tamara Hunter Zion. It's on Amazon. Until the next recipe, bye.